Hi, good afternoon, it's Jim from the Mavstar Observatory. We're going to take a look at the data that one of our superstars has sent in from Hong Kong, China. Tony, thank you very much. It must be coming up now nearly a year that we've been getting the data from China. And before we get into that, just want to say big thank you to those people that support us on Patreon and also on those one-off payments on PayPal. You know what, guys, given the time, and the situation with this COVID virus and how things are going, I just want to say great big thanks to you, and thank you for sticking with us at the observatory. Okay, so as you can see, there has been some changes in the data that we collect with one of our magnetometers in Hong Kong. It's almost lost again 3 microteslas. If we just have a look at the data that we've been getting over the last few months, you can see that it went back up close to 17 microteslas, and then as we can see, it's now started to drop back down. But it had gone down in any case over a period of 6 months, but this is a dramatic change. This has suddenly dropped, so it would be interesting to keep our eyes on what's going on over there and see how this plays out. So on this animation, you can see in the top left hand side, you can see the pole migrating over towards Siberia, and on the right you can see the South Pole leaving the Antarctic Peninsula down there. But when we look at the picture or the image in the centre at the bottom, we can see that there's 2 large magnetic plumes or intensities, and we've got almost 2 at the bottom, but one of them, albeit at the bottom very left, is very weak. Now I want to just clarify something for you, because where we've got the high intensity region down there on the South Pole, something very different is happening over those 2 high intensity regions, and that is over the South Pole. In the centre of that high intensity region, we have one of the actual dipoles of the planet, but we don't over the northern hemisphere. What we have is 2 high intensity regions and neither a pole in either of them, and you can see it better on this map that's been provided by NOAA earlier this year. So like I was saying, you can see it clearly. If we look at the South Pole or the dipole, we can see that in the highest intensity region it is almost central to that, but over the northern hemisphere, I don't know why NOAA put the actual poles there where they have, but it is certainly not where it is in the southern hemisphere of this Earth, and that is in the centre of one of these high intensity regions. It's somewhere in this region here, the magnetic North Pole is, and it's tracking, as we know, towards Siberia. But what that means is that we do have 2 high intensity regions, but in neither of those intensities do we have a magnetic pole, and therefore something else is happening over the northern hemisphere different to the southern hemisphere. We can also see on this map as well a low intensity region, and that is the mid-Atlantic anomaly, and that's why we're trying to get one of our muon detectors into that region and a magnetometer to see what's going on in that region. And I believe we'll do it at some point this year. I mean, we're working, Doug over in the United States is working with a friend to try and get one of his family members to have one of our muon detectors in Brazil for us. But as what we're seeing on there is a bit of a unfolding of a catastrophe with the COVID-19 at the moment. So we've just got to be a little bit patient here at the observatory before we can actually get that magnetometer out there. But it's very interesting, I think, that in neither of those high intensity regions we don't have the pole over the northern hemisphere, but over the southern hemisphere we definitely do. I'm just wondering that in a couple of years time, when we're getting close to the reversal, whether these intensities could actually turn out to be multiple poles on our planet. We're just going to have to wait and see. But what we do know, and what we saw from the video we was just watching over Canada, is a dissipation of that intensity. It's shrinking off, and it has done. It has reduced in strength, significantly over the last 7 years. So it'd be interesting to see what actually takes place next. But what you can see on here is over Russia, and more in particular Siberia, on that central continent, you can see that it seems to be leaking off from Canada, that intensity, and building up over Russia right now. So you know, we are starting to see a lot of changes. We're starting to see some very strange behaviour in Hong Kong at the moment, and I'm just wondering over the next few days when we start to get that data in from Perth, Australia, whether we're starting to see some changes there as well, and maybe when we get the data from Scott in Arizona, we can see whether there's a change in with regards to that as well. As you guys know, on around about 17th, we pulled the data out the TriMag and the magnetosphere strength sensor, and we'll take a reading of that. And over the next few days, we'll do a reading of the muons here in the UK. And very shortly, we're going to be getting muon readings from Perth, Australia as well. That has, like I said, left the UK, and it's on its way now to Australia. It's probably a week or thereabouts before it gets there, and we'll ask Jeff to just email, you know, the total amount of counts of muons and the time period of what it's taken, those counts, and we can get that data up on the website. So there's a website that, you know, there's a page going to be dedicated for all our muon detector data, our CO2 data, and oxygen data. So there's a bit more, there's a few pages to add on there, but if you haven't been over to the website, you'll see that there's not just a lot of information with regards to the pole and, you know, this anomaly that we're in, this rare event, but also there's data on sea ice extent. You've got weather maps, radars, we've got precipitation maps of the world, and they're all updated every day, sometimes more than once. We've got a load of solar data, information on the website. You know, we've even got now stuff on the Schumann frequency, so you can see what's happening on a daily basis with that as well. So there's plenty of stuff on the website. So guys, I will say what I usually do. Guys, if you want to jump in and support the observatory at this difficult time, there is a link down there. But more importantly, guys, you know, you have a great day, look after your loved ones, and I'll say what I usually do. Bye for now.